Sechta Makos, Daf Yud Aben Aleph. We're starting from Tesamid Beis, 5 lines from the bottom. 3 cities in the Ari Miklet, Hivda Mesha, Beva Yadin. Mesha Abinu designated in the bank of the Yadin. Ukenagdan Hivda Yeshua. Corresponding to that, Yeshua designated 3 Ari Miklet, Betzkan in the land of Canaan. Kemin shtei shurish shabakeren, like 2 rows in a vineyard. But Yehuda, Yehuda was the direct opposite of the city of Betzer in the Midbar. Shechem, Bahar Ephraim, Shechem in the city of Ephraim, connected Ramas Bagilad, was opposite of the city of Ramas Gilad. Kedesh, Shebehar Naphtali, Kedesh, that was Kodesh. That was in the Mount Naphtali Keneged, Goylon Babashan, was opposite of Goylon Babashan. V'shilashta, and you should divide the gvul of your land. That sheyahoy mishulashitz, it should be divided equally between the 3 cities. Meaning sheyahoy, that the distance midarim from the south border of Eretz Yisrael lechevrein to Chevrein should be kechevrein l'Shechem, the same distance as Chevron to Shechem, and the distance from Chevron to Shechem should be like the distance Mishchem LeKadesh, and the distance Mishchem LeKadesh should be the same distance as Migdash of Mikadesh to Tzafein of Eretz Yisrael, to the border of Eretz Yisrael. So, in fact, the Yemada Beva Yadin Tlas, you're saying on the bank of the Jordan, it was 3 Ari Miklet, there was only 2.5 Shvatim there. Eretz Yisrael, and in Eretz Yisrael, where the rest of the Shvatim were, the 9.5 Shvatim. I'm sorry, in Eretz Yisrael you had the 10.5 Shvatim, so why would they have the same amount on the bank of the Yarden? 3 Ari Miklat. And the Gemara Abaya said, "Gilad Shchiach Rotzchem," because in Gilad there were many murderers, and that's why they had to set up in the bank of Jordan. There should be 3 Ari Miklat. Zog Gemara Chesiv, like it says, by Gilad, which was on the bank of Yarden, Kiyas Pelach Payalei Oven Akub Midam. It was the city where they did evil and it was covered with the blood. In fact, what does it mean? It was covered with blood. Elazar said, that they would plot and ambush to kill people. In fact, the Merachikim, what's the difference if somebody who killed on the borders of Eretz Yisrael, then he's very far from the Yer HaMiklat. But Mashen came when he was in the center of Eretz Yisrael, coming from the border, you would have to walk a quarter to the first Ari Miklat. But if you were in the center of Eretz Yisrael, you would only have to walk an eighth either way, because there were 2 Ari Miklat on either side. And even in the city of Shechem and the around Shechem, there were more Ratzchim than the rest of the cities of Eretz Yisrael. Therefore, they had to put by Shechem 2 Ari Miklat from both sides. Like it says in the pasuk, Ubechike ish gedudim, and there were bands of robbers waiting for man. A band of Kainim, on the way to Shechem, they would kill. In fact, the mother, what is the kavanah of Cheva Kainim? The bands of Kainim. Abelazar says, that they would band together in order to kill people. Just like these Kainim would band together, to divide the trumes in the granary. And the Gemara continues, Vesuleika was there only 6 Ari Miklat, It says all the cities of the Levium were used as Ari Miklat, which is an additional 42. And for the Gemara, Abaya said, Halolu Koltes, the 6 Ari Miklat would protect Bein Ladas, Bein Shalei Ladas. Whether he knew that it was Ari Miklat, whether he didn't, it's still protected. Halolu, but the other 42 cities, Ladas, Koltes, if he was aware that it's a Ari Miklat, then it would protect him. Shalei Ladas ain't a Koltes. But if he was unaware, he was not a miklat, that it's not a miklat, then it wouldn't protect. In fact, the Yemad Chavrin here, miklat too, was Chavrin the city of miklat. Well, see, Vayitin Lakalev was Chavrin Kashri B'Meisha. It says the Eibush gave Kalev the city of Chavrin, like Moshe had spoken. Abaya said Pravadohal. It's talking about the suburbs of the city of Chavrin. That was given to Kalev. Like it says in the pasuk, the fields of the city and the yards were given to Kalev and Yefuna as an inheritance. But the city itself, the city of Chavrin itself, was Ari Miklat. In fact, the mother of Kadesh, Miklat Havi, was Kadesh, a city of refuge. Like it says in the pasuk, Ari Mivtzad, Hatzidim, Tsar, Bechamas, Rakas, V'chineres v'kadesh v'adarei v'avein hatzor v'tanya. And we learned in the Braisa, Aram Alolo, these cities of Ari Miklat ain't Eisam Leitir Ktanim. You cannot make Ari Miklat in small cities, being that there aren't a lot of food over there, and you have to sustain those that are on the Miklat. V'loi kach g'daylim, not in big cities, because there are many people that gather together there, and we have to be afraid amongst them will be the relatives of the one that was killed, and they'll kill the Reitzich V'Shgaga. Yoris Bainanis. Rather, it can only be a city that is not a big city, but not a small city, and in between. But since over here we mentioned amongst the fortified cities was Kadesh, which means it's a big city, how could we say that they made that city as a Ari Miklat Kadesh? And the Gemara Rav Yosef says, Tarte Kadesh Avayi. There were 2 Kadesh. And where do we see that? Amravashi going Slikum, Ve'akadis Slikum. Like we had the fortified city that it was called Slikum, and next to it was a village that was called also Akadis Slikum. So too, when it came to Kadesh, there was a city that was a fortified city, Kadesh, and then there was a city of Ari Miklat, which is smaller, which was also called Kadesh. Gufa, we previously learned in the Braisa, Aram Alolu, these Ari Miklat, ein Eisen Leitim Tanim, Veloi Beribim Gedailim, Kachen Gedailim. And that we learned that these cities, you don't make Ari Miklat in the small cities, nor in the fortified big cities. Rather, only in the middle cities. And you don't make Ari Miklat only in a place where there's water. If there's no water, so then when the Gadol fell on the Ari Miklat in the days of Yeshua and there was no water in the city, what would they do? You would bring water. You would dig out Nechalim, you would bring rivers, Nachal, and you extend it to the river, the canals. You would dig out canals and you would extend it to the river so that the water, even far out, so the water would flow through the canal to the city. You don't place Ari Miklat only in a place where there's a marketplace, so that those that are exiled have a place where they can buy food. So too, you don't make Ari Miklat only with a lot of people that are in the villages around the city of Miklat, in order that the relatives of the one that got killed shouldn't try to attack the city of the killers. And when you have a lot of people, they'll stop it. If those that were living in the villages around the city of Miklat diminished, you add more people. If in the city of Miklat itself were less dwellers. Mevin lahem kainim levim Yisraelim. You bring kainim levim Yisraelim there, ve'hem meichem behem, and you don't sell in the Adi Mikuloi Klei Zion. You don't armor, you don't sell there, so that the Goel Adam shouldn't be able to buy armor over there and kill the one that killed Bishgaga. Veloi, and you don't sell Klei Mitzuda, vessels of entrapment for Chayis, because you could kill the relatives get killed, that they say Bishgaga. Those are the words of Nechemia. Acham allowed to sell the Klei Zion. Shavin, Shein Pesach Misaycha, but they both agree that you cannot spread out Metsudis nets for Balachaim, Be'ein Mavshilin, and you cannot twine threads to Leseichen Achavalim to turn to make in it from it ropes. Since you have these nets and these ropes, which is not found in other places, if they'll do so, but in Mikvah, we have to be afraid that the relative of the killer, of the one that was killed, will come to that town and he'll see the one that killed his relative and he'll kill him. So therefore, we don't allowed to sell those items of Klei Mitzuda, meaning nets and rope. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, by Kram, from which pasuk do we learn out that you have to make a good highway for those that kill b'shegig to run to the mikvah? It says v'nas alach saharim ha'el v'chay, that the person should be able to run from these cities and he should live, or to these cities and live. And you have to make a place where he's able to sustain his life. All those yanim that we explained earlier in the Braisa. The Gemara brings different dinim that's negayah to a Talmud or a Rav that had to go to Golas. We learned in the Braisa, Talmud Shagala, Magnas Abi Imai. A Talmud that ended up going to Golas, the teacher has to go with him. Like it says, it says that you have to, for those that are not in mikvah, you have to do something that his life should be able to be productive there. And just like you have to worry about Chayes Gashmi, so too you have to take care that he should be able to continue his Chayes and Ruchnis and continue to learn Torah from his teacher. From here we learn out that a teacher shouldn't teach a student that's shaykh to have bad behavior because he might end up with him in Golas. A teacher that ended up going to Golas, you bring the whole yeshiva to Golas. In fact, is that true? That a Rav that kills B'Shogeg, he has to go to Golas? Rabbi Yochanan said, how do we know that the words of Torah protect those that are learning the Torah? Shnema, by Yarei Mikvah, it says as Betzeh B'Midva, and after it says V'zei Satera, to teach us that even the Torah protects like Yarei Mikvah. So why do we require that the Rav should go to Golas? L'chayra, he's being Isaac B'Torah. So, for the Gemara, like Kasha, you can't ask Kastina because remember that we said that the Torah protects the people like Aramikla, Torah protects like Aramikla, is Be'idna the Asikba, in the time that he's learning Torah. And the second member that we said that Divrei Torah is not protecting is Be'idna Eloi Asik, in the time that he's not learning Torah. If you want, I can tell you another Torah, it's Michael Tin. What does it mean? What is the kavanah of the words of Rabbi Yochanan that the words of the Torah protect the Malach HaMavis from the Malach HaMavis? Ki had Rav Chizda Yosef begarim We got his Bebei Rav. Rav Chizda was sitting in the base medrash of Rav and learning the whole time. I have a kol yochel shlichim the malach the malach of the beis salim mikar b'gabei, and the malach Hamavis couldn't get close to him. The loyhava shasi put me because he didn't stop learning. Slik v'yas ars the Beit Rav. The malach Hamavis went up on a cedar tree. That was by the base medrash of Rav. And he leaned on one big piece and it fell. He was sick, and Rav Chizda kept quiet for that moment, and that's when he killed him. Why the pasuk start off with the Arei Miklat that was in the Chelek of Reuven? To enumerate the Arei Miklat with the first one from the Chelek of Reuven, because he started with saving Yosef first. And then, like it says, by the selling of Yosef, when they planned to kill him, and they heard from Reuven and they saved him from his hand. Meaning the brothers tried to kill Yosef, and Reuven heard that, and he delivered them from their hands. What is the kavanah of the pasuk? Then Moshe designated 3 Arei Miklat on the bank of the Yarden, the east, where the sun is shining. Amalei Hakadosh Baruch Hu Moshe Hazach Sham Shleyatzchim. Meaning he worried to prepare the needs in Arei Miklat. Ikadamri, others say the Shmuel is a little different. Amalei Hakadosh Baruch Hu Moshe Hazach Sham Shleyatzchim. In this, that you designated 3 Arei Miklat, you did well. You protected the Ratzchim B'Shoigeg. What do we dash on the words of the pasuk? Somebody who loves silver will not be filled from silver. Somebody who loves a lot, light for with light full means he won't be full, saturated. Somebody who loves silver won't be filled with silver. Moshe Rabbeinu knew that his 3 cities of Arei Miklat that he designated in the bank of the Yarden will not be used as a mitzvah till the other 3 cities of Arei Miklat were designated in the land of Canaan. Mama mitzvah zu shabala yadi akimanu. He said, nevertheless, I want to fulfill this mitzvah. Umir oyev b'hamein lo yitfuah. So it says, so nor he who loves abundance with increase. Okay, leitua means with increase. Meaning it's also interpreted referring to Torah. For whom it is fitting to teach a lot of people. Who is it? Who is fitting? One whom all its increase belongs to him, meaning he knows all that's doing all of the Torah. Meaning there is a baki b'mikra b'mishnah b'halachas b'agadas b'hainu de'amar, and this is what they say. It's similar. Rabbi Elazar and Maidim say, what is the kavanah of the pasuk? Mi yamalu v'ureis. Who can say the mightiness of Hashem? Yashmik Tos, and let's hear all this praise. L'mi na l'malel as good as Hashem. To whoever could express the strength, the might of Hashem, it's called Hilasa. To one who could, meaning to one who's Rudoy to Dash Mirabim, who's a buck Bikol Chelki Atera. Rabbanan Beitema Rabba Bamari, Rabbanan the other say Rabba Bamari, Oma, Ben, that the Kadash and the words of the Pasuk, me, Ayev Mame. Oma, Oma. He said like this, that any person that loves Talmidei Chachamim that teach Torah, to many Talmidim late for. The Torah returns and gives him children that are Talmidei Chachamim. Once that was heard, so Yahweh Rabbanan Einayu, the Chacham placed their eyes Berab Reid Rabba, on Rabba, the son of Rabba, because the pasuk was fulfilled, because he had a love for Talmidei Chacham. He had such a great love for the Talmidei Chacham, and therefore he was able to have children that were Talmidei Chacham. Simin Ashi Lilmud Rabbeinu Lamed. Avashi Yama. This is how we have to dash in the pasuk. Kol ha'ayev lilmid b'hamay. Somebody who loves learning with a lot of people. Loitva. He zeichet Torah. V'hainu dama. This is what it says. Similarly, that Rabbi Yosi b'Rab Chanina, he dashed and might say, what is this that it says? What's the command of the pasuk? Cherev al abadim v'noyalei v'goyma. What does that mean? Cherev. It's the sword is fit to be al tzabari sayin ayam shal Talmidei Chachamim, which the lashon saginah. It's the sword is fit to be on the Talmidei Chachamim themselves. That they are Eis Matera alone, without a chabrusa. They become tipshit. And this we learn out from the pasuk. And it says a similar lashon of that we were foolish. Nayala means foolish. So it shows us it's tipshus when you learn. You only grow in tipshus when you learn alone. Somebody who learns Torah himself, he's a sinner. Like it says in the pasuk, that we were foolish and that we sinned. So you see, they're sinners too. Others say we learn out from here. We can learn out from this pasuk. It says, "Goyel Sari Tzoyin," that the Sari Noif were Noyalai. What does it mean Noyalai? They were fablunget. They were sinners. So here you see a Noyal. The lashon Noyal is a sinner too. Avinu says, "Kol adam ha'ayev lilmei b'hamayin." Every person that loves to learn with many Talmidim Leitfua, he's Zeichel L'Teirav. Hainu Da'aman, similarly we find that Rabbi said, Harbe Torah L'Matim Rabbi Yisai V'Machavei Yis Mekulum and Talmidei Yis Mekulam. A lot of Torah I learned from my teachers, from my friends even more, and from my Talmidim even more. Because through the kashas of Talmidim, the teacher has to delve into it more, to understand it more, to be able to answer their kashas. Rabbi Shimon Levi said, what is this that it says in the pasuk? Our feet were standing in your gates of Yerushalayim. Who caused our feet to withstand the enemies, to be victorious over the enemies? Shari Yerushalayim, the cities of Yerushalayim. Because they were Eis Torah. That's what caused us to be victorious. Rabbi Shimon Levi. And Rabbi Shimon Levi said, a song of the ascent to David, of elevating to David. I rejoiced when they said to me, let us go to the house of Hashem. It says, David said before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I heard people who were saying, in reference to me, when will this old man die? And Shlomo HaMelech, his son, will build the Beis HaMikdash, and we will ascend for the pilgrimage to on the Yom Tovim. It was common knowledge that the Beis HaMikdash would be constructed by David's successor, meaning by Shlomo HaMelech. And despite my pain, I am not privileged to that meaning because I'm not privileged to build it. Nevertheless, I rejoice. Nevertheless, the Eibishter told David, for better is one day of your courtyard, meaning of your learning, than 1,000, meaning I prefer one day which you engage in your learning Torah before me than the 1,000 oiles that King Shlomo is destined to be maked before me on the Mizbeach. It says, and they were aligned for them from one city to the other city. It is taught, Tani Rabbi Lazar ben Yaakov Eimer, Rabbi Lazar ben Yaakov said, Miklat hayu kosa al prashas adachim. It was the word Miklat was written on the forks of the road. Kedei sheyakar etzech v'yifdim l'sham, so that the Yitzayach, the murderer, would be able to identify the route to the city, into the Arei Miklat, and turn to there. Amar Avkana Maikra, what is this pasuk? Tach lecha aderech, prepare for you the road. Asay hachan aderech, perform for you a preparation of the road. Rav Chanina introduced this portion with regard to the halachas of Arei Miklat with an introduction from here. It says, Tov v'yasha Hashem al-kein chatam aderech. Good and upright is Hashem, therefore He directs sinners along the way. And He said, "Al-kein ayim l'chatoim yaira." If Hashem directs for the chatoim, the sinners, by commanding the placing of miklat, of signs for them to go to the city of Arei Miklat, so how much more so for the tzaddikim, Hashem gives them a path for meaning and directs the righteous along the path of righteousness. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish introduced this portion with an introduction from here. It is stated with regard to unintentional murder, and one who did not lie in wait, but Hashem caused it to come to his hand. And I will appoint you a place where you can run. Now, this is affects the shy. Why would Hashem cause one to sin in this way? It's as the old parable that says, from the Shoyim comes forth wickedness. Evil incidents befall those who have already sinned. What is the pasuk referring to? There's two people that killed another person. One killed by accident, one killed by mazid. Both don't have edim. Hashem makes them come to one place, and over there, the one that killed the Mazid, who didn't have Adam that he killed the Mazid, sitting on the bottom of the ladder, and the one that killed by accident, who didn't have Adam yet, it was Sulam, is going down the ladder, and he falls on the one that killed the Mazid, and he kills him. The one that killed the Mazid gets killed, because now there's going to be Adam. That's what the Eibishter makes. Amar Rav Huna, Rav Huna says that Rav Lezer says from the Torah, from the Nevi'im and Ksuvim, one learns that along the path a person wishes to go, Hashem leads him there and assists him there. Min HaTorah we find that by Bilam, that the Eibishter told him, don't go with them. And then later on we find the Eibishter says, arise, go with them. So one learns from this pasuk that Hashem assists the person to the place that he desires. It says from Nevi'im, as it is, I am the God, your God, who teaches you, for your Navi, who leads you on the path that you should go, indicating that along the path that one looks to go, Hashem will direct him. One learns from the same thing, min haksuvim, what do we see from ksuvim? D'chsivim la'leitzim, hu yolitz, la'anav yitnchein. It says if one seeks to sit with leitzim, jokesters, he will cause them to join with these jokesters. but to the humble He will give grace, indicating that if one chooses to be a letz, Hashem will direct him and assist him to be with the leitzim. A murderer who was exiled to the city of Miklad, and the Gal Adam found him and he kills him, he's potter. It says, and for him there is no sentence of death. The Gal Adam it's written in regard to the relative of the one that was killed by the Ritzei V'Shgaga, that if he kills now the Ritzei V'Shgaga, he's going to be potter. The Gemara is a kasha on the words of Huna from the V'loi Mishmad Mavas, and says, for him there is no sentence of death. So the pasuk is speaking with regard to an unintentional murder, teaching that the unintentional murder is not liable for Misa. That is why the Jewish people were commanded to establish cities of Miklad to protect him. So the Braisa continues to prove that the pasuk was written with the Geya to the murderer, the Geya to the Reitzayach. So if you want to ask him, are you saying this pasuk is B'Reitzayach, who is talking about B'Reitzayach? How do you know? Maybe maybe it's talking about the relative of the one that was killed, that kills the Reitzayach on the way to Miklad. From this, that it says that he didn't hate him from before, from the day 2 or 3 before. It is clear that the pasuk was referring to the Reitzayach B'Shayegeg, and therefore you must say that the pasuk is referring to the Reitzayach, who was Nasena to the one that was killed from before. And since the pasuk is dealing with Reitzayach, it's mistaba that even to begin with, the chiyuv, that there's no chiyuv of death to the Reitzayach, but the Gal Adam, if he killed him on the way to the Miklad, he does get killed. So he proves from the words of the Braisa, not like Avhuna who holds that if the Gal Adam kills the Reitzayach on the way to the Miklad, that he's potter. And for the Gemara, no. From the words of the Braisa is muchach not like the words of Avhuna. Who Rav Huna the Amar, Rav Huna himself said that Gal Adam, the relatives that killed the Reitzayach B'Dakei on the way to the Ir Miklad, his potter, Kahaitana, holds like this Tanya, the Tanya that we learned in the Braisa. It says, "V'loi ein mishmud mavis." To him, there is no punishment of death. The Gal Adam hakas medaber. If the Reitzayach, if he killed the Reitzayach, meaning the Gal Adam killed the Reitzayach, he doesn't get killed. Maybe it's are you saying it's talking about the relative of the one that was killed, or it's talking about the Reitzayach himself who killed B'Shegeg, that he doesn't have a din of Misa for killing B'Shegeg? And the Gal Adam Taka, if he did kill the Reitzayach B'Shegeg on the way to the Miklad, does get killed. So he says you can't say that because when the pasuk says Kilei Sainahu, from this that it says he didn't hate him from before, from the hemshch of the pasuk for sure we're talking about the Reitzayach who didn't hate the one that he killed from before. Memela, you can learn out from here that there's no din misa for the Reitzayach, and the pasuk didn't have to tell us that there's no misa for the Reitzayach. So how do we establish the words of the pasuk? That to him there's no death penalty. It's talking about by the relative of the killer, that if the relative of the killer killed the Reitzayach, he's not going to be chayav misa for that. So the Gemara tries to prove from our Mishnah, not like Avhuna. We learned in our Mishnah that Bezdin would be Mason loy to the Reitzayach Shnei Talmidei Chachamim. They would give him over to Talmidei Chachamim to escort him. Shema Yargeno, because maybe the Gal Adam will kill him on the way Torah Mikvah, we Dabru, and the Talmid Chacham will speak and convince Elav, the girl Adam, the relative, not to kill the Reitzach B'Shagoga. My love, the Masabeh. L'chayra, we have to say these words that they speak to the girl Adam, is that they're warning him, the Katbar Katalo, that if he's going to kill him, he's going to get killed. So you want to lie? No, the Kavanah is not the Talmid Chacham are warning him, rather, Kavanah is Kedetani, like we learned in the Braisa. V'dabru, the Talmid Chacham Elav will speak to him to convince him, Dvarim Aruyim Lai, things that will be accepted to his heart. Don't kill this Leitzerich Kiminik Sheikhadamin like regular killers, because because this that he killed your relative only happened by accident. Rameya says he speaks on his own behalf. Shanama, like it says in the pasuk, Dvar HaReitzeiach, and these are the words of the Reitzeich himself. Means that the Reitzeich himself has to convince the relatives that he killed on B'Sheg, and they shouldn't attempt to kill. They shouldn't kill him. Amru loy, the Chacham said to Ameya that it's not so. Because many things cannot be done to the person himself, or the person himself. Only things can only be done through a shluchim. Here too, it's better that the Talmid Chacham should speak with the relatives than he, the Retzech himself. Omar. It's brought down in the Braisa, Bishgaga Ba'mas Liyodei, that unintentionally that he came to be involved in this killing. Shita says, of course, it's self-understood that he did a Bishgaga, because and that's why he's going to Golas. The Ibn Mezid, Golas, if he killed B'Mezid, he's going to go to Golas. And the Gemara in, the Heirik B'Mezid is B'Teres Din Golos Le'Mikvah. Tanya, and that's how we learned on Raisa. In the beginning of the Mishpatan of Ratzchim, Echad Sheik V'Echad Meizid, Ein Magdim Elare Mikvah, U'Bezdin Shech HaChareim Havdin Eisem Misham L'Din. To begin with, what happens initially, either one who killed another unintentionally or he killed intentionally would hurry and run to Ari Miklat. And the court in his city would send shluchim and would bring him from there to stand in Bezdin. One of us got killed. Like it says, and the elders of the city shall send and take him from there and deliver him into the hands of the blood redeemer, and he shall die. Like it says in the pasuk, like it says, and the Eidah shall rescue the murderer from the hands of the blood redeemer. One who was mechuyev misa p'tarud, then Bezdin would send him off his way, and he would be patash. That the congregation should restore him to his city of Ari Miklat. That they should return to Ari Miklat, which he ran to. Those are the words of Rabbi Yisrael Yehuda. Rabbi Yimam, the din of Harigim B'Mezid, runs to Golos Miklat. Alamei Atzmei Hen Goylin L'Sham. They go on their own. As they thought, Kisfunheim, Echad Sheik V'Echad Mezid Koltes, as they thought that they would be admitted to Ari Miklat, which would provide protection for Sai, Mezid, Sai, V'Shegeg, the Hein Ein Yedin Sheb'Shegeg Koltes. But they didn't know that only for Shegeg it protects and admitted to these cities. But B'Mezid ain't a Koltes. But for those that kill B'Mezid, it's not Koltes. It doesn't protect. And they're not admitted. Amar Ablaza. Ablaza said, a city which the majority of the city consists of Shegeg, as it stated, he has dvarav, and he shall speak his matters into the ears of the ziknei ha'ir, of the elders of the city, and would mean indicating that there is some chiddush in the matters that he seeks to convey to the elders of the city. It says, but not when the matters are equal to his matters, as those elders made the same statements when they arrived at the city of Miklat as unintentional murderers. So Rabbi Elazar is arguing not like Rabbi. It's not a mitzvah. Only they come on their own. And also this, that when they speak to Ziknei Ha'ir, not even that they're equal to him, that they're also Ratzchim, because in such a even the city does not protect. Rabbi Elazar said, "Ir she'im b'hem zkenim, ein ekeletis." An ear that doesn't have zkenim, the city doesn't protect. You have to fulfill the words of the pasuk. He has a leika, and you can't fulfill those words because in this city there's no zkenim, and therefore it doesn't become out of miklat. Itma, we learn Ir she'im b'hem zkenim. We'll stop over here.